In the far-flung future, humanity had become a whisper among the stars. We had reached for the cosmos, planting our flags on dozens of new worlds, but our cradle, our home, was lost. Terra, a name that echoed with both pride and profound sorrow. A catastrophic war had shattered our civilization, forcing the survivors into the dark, leaving Earth a desolate ruin, a tombstone floating in the void. For generations, the galaxy believed humanity was a footnote in history, a species that had burned too brightly and faded away. Then they came. The Zorvans, a merciless expansionist empire, stumbled upon our solar system. Their scanners swept across the third planet, and what they saw was a prize. A dead world, scarred by ancient conflict, but rich in resources and ripe for the taking. They saw no cities, no signals, no life. The planet was empty, they concluded. A perfect, silent trophy for their ever-growing collection. They descended upon our home with an overwhelming force, their fleets blotting out the sun, their armies marching through the skeletal remains of our once great cities. The Zorvans believed their conquest would be a simple matter of harvesting, a footnote in their own glorious history. They were wrong. They were so very, very wrong. Because humanity never truly left. We hadn't abandoned Earth, we had simply gone deeper. Beneath the irradiated plains and shattered skyscrapers, in sprawling subterranean bunkers shielded from the galaxy's prying eyes, we endured. We survived. For centuries, our greatest minds, our most brilliant engineers, and our most dedicated historians worked in secret. They weren't just preserving our species. They were preparing. They were building, planning, and waiting for the day we would rise again and reclaim the sun. They'd passed down the stories of the world above, of blue skies and green fields, ensuring that the memory of Earth was not just a legend, but a promise of return. As the Zorvans celebrated their effortless victory, feasting amidst the ruins they so casually desecrated, the ground began to tremble. In the dead of night, hatches and hidden entrances hissed open across the globe. From the depths of the planet, we emerged. We were not the frail, broken creatures the aliens had read about in their historical archives. The centuries of hardship had forged us into something new. We were warriors honed by survival, scientists driven by a sacred purpose, and engineers fueled by the legacy of a world built by our ancestors. We were the children of Earth, and we had come home. The first strike was surgical, silent, and devastating. We didn't meet their armies head-on in the open fields. That was their way, not ours. We were ghosts in our own land. Using a network of ancient tunnels and forgotten subway systems, our guerrilla units moved unseen, striking at supply lines, disabling command centers, and vanishing back into the Earth before the Zorvans could even process what was happening. Our weapons were a strange fusion of old and new relics from the last war, upgraded with centuries of innovation. Plasma rifles powered by geothermal energy, sonic disruptors that turned their advanced armor to dust, and cloaking technology that made us phantoms in the ruins. With every successful raid, with every disabled walker and every captured outpost, we send a clear and terrifying message to the invaders. This is our world. You are not conquerors here. You are trespassers. Earth was not just a rock to be mined. It was our heritage, our soul, and we would water its soil with our blood before we let it be stolen. The Zorvans, who had never known true resistance, were completely blindsided. Their rigid, honor-bound military tactics were useless against an enemy that refused to fight by their rules. How do you fight an army that can appear from solid ground, strike with lethal precision, and then melt away like morning mist? Panic began to ripple through the alien ranks. Their commanders, steeped in a tradition of overwhelming force, couldn't comprehend the situation. Their reports back to their homeworld grew more and more frantic. They spoke of wraiths, of soldiers who knew every shadow, every broken building, every secret passage. They were being dismantled piece by piece, not by a grand army, but by the very spirit of the planet itself. The human ingenuity that had once reached for the stars was now a weapon turned against them. A relentless, creative force of destruction that shattered their morale and their machines. They saw our scientists repurpose their own technology against them, turning their communication arrays into feedback loops that deafened their troops, and their energy conduits into catastrophic bombs. The tide of the war turned. The hunters had become the hunted. The Zorvans, who saw themselves as the galaxy's apex predators, found themselves cornered, demoralized, and losing ground with every passing day. They finally understood the terrifying truth. They had not invaded a dead world. They had kicked open the door to a fortress, and in doing so, awakened its guardians. They had mistaken our silence for absence, our history for weakness. They learned that the people of Earth were defined not by the wars they lost, but by their unbreakable will to rise from the ashes. In the end, it wasn't a single epic battle that decided the fate of Earth. It was 1,000 small victories, a relentless campaign of attrition that bled the invaders dry. The last remaining Zalrith commander, staring out from the bridge of his flagship at the burning wreckage of his ground forces, made the only choice he had left. He ordered a full retreat. The last of their ships clawed their way into orbit, fleeing our solar system with a newfound terror of the name Earth. They left behind a broken army and a story that would become a chilling legend throughout the galaxy. As the last alien vessel vanished from our skies, a profound silence fell over the planet. And then, for the first time in centuries, the people of Earth stood under an open sky, victorious. We had reclaimed our home. We hadn't won through superior numbers or overwhelming firepower, we won because we remembered who we were. We were the inheritors of a legacy of resilience, a people who had faced extinction and refused to yield. We learned that Earth's greatest strength wasn't in its technology or its forgotten armies, but in the unyielding spirit of its people. Humanity would never truly fall, and our home, Terra, would never again be forgotten. We are here, and we are here to stay. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tailies from across the galaxy. See you next time.